Alright, boys, you guys already know it's your boy Dizzy. We got the homie Bruce and Eddie, and today we're actually gonna be reacting to scary animations, some real life scary animations, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. And let's get started. Boys, any last words before we die?
I'm just praying I don't fucking have nightmares.
I'm praying that y'all can't see me. Y'all can't see me. It's dumb. It's dumb.
Are we ready, boys?
Ready, start.
Okay. See how good this shit is.
Is it even recording?
About 10 years ago, I worked at a cemetery. The money was good and it was relatively easy. All I really had to do was drive around in my truck and make sure no kids were causing trouble. Every night was exactly the same, and by then I'd already gotten used to the creepy nature of the job. After a normal night of work, I got off around 6 a.m. and headed home. I didn't usually go to bed until around 11 or so, and while I was getting ready at 10:30...
What time do you go to bed?
I forgot.
Bruce, what time do you go to bed?
That's past my bedtime.
That's because, bro, he sleeps at 11.
Did I?
Oh.
I sleep at fucking
I sleep right now, actually. That's actually like
I forgot when I sleep.
I'm bringing out the blanket, boys. It's scary already.
It's hot as shit in here. We don't need the blankets.
I need the blanket. I'm hot.
Oh, really? War.
Dude, no, I'm sweating.
Okay, me and Bruce, we're scared for our
Attention
life.
to viewers, they fucked up my bed, so I had to fix it. We all three had to fix it.
Alright, boys, ready?
Yes, sir.
I got a call from my boss. He asked me if I had seen anything last night, and I said no because I hadn't. He then told me that a grave had been defaced. I swore I didn't see anything though, especially not some group of kids, which are typically the culprit. Anyways, he asked me if I could come back and help him clean it, and I agreed of course because I kind of felt like it was my fault. When I got there, I realized I had underestimated how horrible these writings on the grave had been. This was not the usual small writing or anything. There was writing all over the stone, with horrible words and markings. What made it so much worse was that when we were cleaning everything off, I was finally able to read who the person was. I will obviously not...
So what do you see, boys?
Cemetery.
I see a goofy nigga doing cemetery work.
Okay, how would you react?
Imagine doing that shit at night and some skeleton pops up out of nowhere.
Bro, thing's goofy. Would you go work at a cemetery? Okay, would you go work at a cemetery in America or in Mexico?
Oh yeah, that ass.
Yeah.
Probably in America.
That ass?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I feel like Mexico would have like more scary stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Like what if like you're like working at a cemetery and then I don't know where you see like a hand popping up out of nowhere.
Fucking an owl
Well,
just comes down and beats the shit out of you.
I'm paused. Take your phone off low power mode.
not say the name for privacy reasons, but it was a child, only 8 years old when he passed away just a few months prior. I was filled with anger and sadness, unlike any I felt before. I mean, who does that to a kid? I stayed with my boss for a bit, as we checked some surveillance footage. This cemetery was huge though, and the only camera we had was on one building where the funerals were held, and it wasn't very big. And again, this was quite a long time ago, and cameras weren't what they are today. We didn't see anyone at all.
You had the same cut.
The cemetery was already run by the city, and for the next few weeks, they had some new guys come out to go and watch with me from dusk to dawn. Those weeks went by without anything happening. Didn't see anyone or find any defaced graves.
I'm scared.
One of the guys rode around with me, while the other one stayed near the entrance.
Whoa.
I actually became good friends with my watch partner. We wondered and talked about what the defacer looked like, and after some time it seemed like we'd never get to know. Nothing was really happening anymore, and it kind of seemed like a one and done type of screwed up situation. Eventually, the other watch guards left due to the inactivity, and it was back to just me. Another week went by of nothing, before something happened again. One night, as I had just started my shift and began patrolling, I drove all the way to the back of the cemetery.
What would you do if like they just crawled out of the screen? Start eating us.
I go, what?
What do you do?
Calm.
Anyways, continue back with the video.
I bet.
Got out and began my walk, which I had to start doing to see if any graves had writing or whatnot. As I was getting to about where the kid's grave was, I realized that something was off. I was a couple hundred
actually
feet
whip this
away
one
from the
out?
kid's grave.
Hell
It was
no.
pitch black, but something looked out of place. I stared in that direction for a whole 30 seconds, getting a little creeped out even. Then I started walking closer, shining my dim flashlight all around the area. Once I was just 100 feet away, I shined my flashlight again at the kid's grave. The light barely reached that far, and in the dim, foggy darkness, I could see a black figure laying on the ground completely still next to the grave. Obviously, I was horrified. I didn't know if it was a dead body that had been dug up, or a living person trying to...
Bro, black figure. Imagine like you're in your room. You barely. Oh, it's because did I tell you guys? No, I told Bruce already. I know 100%. Bruce. Okay, well I know I told this to Bruce, but I don't know if I told you. No, I did tell you, Eddie. But I went in a deep ass sleep, and I forgot who I was. Dead ass.
Oh, yeah.
That's just crazy.
See, y'all talking about black figures. What are they looking at right now on your fucking...
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Not important.
hide. I stepped closer, slowly, and once I was maybe 40 or 50 feet away, I almost got a heart attack as the figure jumped up and sprinted into the dark field of graves, completely disappearing in the darkness in just a few seconds. I stood in place, shocked, horrified, and confused. Once I got a hold of myself, I ran back.
Do you guys think these stories are real? Or they just
Yes,
made up?
they're true animations. They're true.
Because this is very scary.
Bullshit.
No, because deadass, like, it's because, don't you think that, would you ever work at a cemetery? Like, deadass.
No, never.
Why? Because what's you fear or what?
Yeah.
It's not a fear. It's just mainly like, okay, yeah, it's a fear. But like, bro, y'all got me fucked up working in a place where people are legit buried and their bodies.
Why don't they pay you $100 an hour?
Bro, oh shit.
Yeah, but like, okay, would you work at a haunted place? Say they pay you $150 an hour, but only at night. But the thing is, it's the most scariest cemetery, like supposedly the most haunted, like in all of America.
I don't.
150 an hour from basically 8 until I want to say like 8 p.m. till 6 a.m.
It's good money, but here's the thing. What if you like? What if something follows you, gets attached to you, comes home with you?
Yeah.
At that point, you're done. You know.
Yeah.
You gotta get praised.
Alright, continue.
To the truck and radioed for the police. Then I went back over to the kid's grave. I warn you, what I saw was really disturbing. In front of the gravestone
Calling the
was a
police
hole.
on like
It wasn't a
ghosts
big
and
hole,
spirits.
nothing done from a shovel, but more like someone's hands. It didn't even go very deep, maybe just a foot. Either way though, someone had tried to dig up this child's grave with their bare hands, and it made me sick. I'm not sure what the person was trying to achieve, and unfortunately we never
hell
figured
no.
out who did it, but rest assured it never happened again. The town hired 2 new people permanently, and one of us always kept watch over that grave specifically, while the other 2 scouted the area. The city also had more people on watch throughout the day as well. To this day, that's been by far the worst thing I've seen while doing graveyard work. No ghosts, no creatures, just horrible human beings. I'm a community patrol officer for a neighborhood in southern Las Vegas. If you aren't familiar with this occupation, it's nothing like a police officer or anything. I'm just a regular 25-year-old that drives a small patrol vehicle around nice neighborhoods to make the residents feel
Nah, it would
safer.
be too if I worked
It's a
at
pretty common
cemetery.
thing
Yeah,
around
no,
here,
bro,
since
bro,
there's a lot of rich neighborhoods right next to a
This is
violent
the
city.
second story.
On my patrols, I have to also report specific community violations. For instance, some housing communities require bushes to be trimmed every week, so if I see an overgrown bush, I have to report it and leave a note at the residence. It's petty, and I personally find it weird that people like to live in neighborhoods like that, but it gives me a job, so I can't complain too much. Anyway, I primarily work 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. It's an odd shift, but that's just how they schedule for some reason. I'd never seen anything strange before this incident. The only things I'd ever really see were groups of teenagers doing dumb shit at the parks at 1 a.m. But last week, I had something happen that was beyond disturbing, and I can't stop thinking. I was doing my regular patrol, which was a specific route we had to take during the middle, beginning, and end of our shifts.
Would you actually work a schedule?
A schedule at a cemetery?
Nah.
Well, I don't think it's a cemetery. He's just driving. He says the schedule is like from 8 until 3 a.m.
Nah.
And then he's alone, and it looks like it's raining and shit.
No wonder bro's eyes are so like. Because bro don't sleep. Bro just dropped my gun.
Because he says this is the scary part. We haven't even made it to the scary part. Alright.
This was my mid-shift patrol, so it was about 10 p.m. and pretty quiet outside. During the drive, I have to check the community pools to make sure they are locked for the night. I pulled into the small parking lot and walked over to the gate. I quickly walked inside and checked the pool area to make sure nobody was still inside, then went back out and locked it. As I made my way over to my car, I noticed a hooded man sitting on one of the park benches not far from where I was. Both of his hands were in his pockets, and he seemed to just be staring at the ground. Honestly, I thought this dude was just waiting for his drug dealer or something, but I didn't know, nor did I really care. I got back in my car and continued on with my route. The community is large, and the routes take probably an hour to complete with no traffic. By the time I finished, it was just about midnight. For the next little bit, all I had to do was drive around the neighborhoods. I mindlessly moved the car through the streets for a while, before finding myself back by the pool, to which I noticed that the man was no longer sitting on the bench. I slowed the car a bit, looking around the sidewalks in the park purely out of curiosity, but I didn't see him anywhere. Not thinking much of it, I kept on. As I drove past the dark, empty park, I couldn't help but get an uneasy sense going through me. I don't know what it was, but something felt off. I continued for a few more minutes before pulling up to a stop sign and noticed a man on the side as if he was going to walk across. After a few seconds, I recognized him as the same hooded man from earlier. He slowly made his way across, but stopped halfway and turned to face me. Being only a few feet away, he quickly walked up to my window, trying to ask me something. I cracked the window slightly.
Imagine you're crossing. Well, imagine you're driving, and you actually see this like an exact replica.
Run that fool over.
The exact replica?
Yeah, like exactly.
I think I would.
The man quickly asked me where a specific address was. Of course, I said I didn't know. Sure, I could have looked it up or given him a general direction, but the circumstances of the situation felt very off. Even more oddly, he didn't even have any emotion or response when I said I didn't know. He just stood in silence for a second, then repeated his question, exactly as he said it before. This was when I really started to get nervous and feel unsafe. I told him I needed to leave, quickly rolling up my window and beginning to move forward. The man didn't do anything as I drove off. Looking in my rearview mirror, he was just standing there in the middle of the road watching me drive away. I parked down by a nearby street by one of the houses, then collected my thoughts. It was a really weird encounter, but was it reason enough to call the police? I didn't know. As bad as it sounds,
all I know is that he's
calling the
working
police
overnight
while at
right
work
now,
is a
so
big deal, and I didn't want to unless it was actually necessary. The big question that kept coming up in my mind, though, was why was he looking for that address? I decided to type it into my GPS, and it was just a few minutes away, inside the neighborhood I was patrolling. So, I got back on the road and made my way over to the address. When I arrived, it seemed like every other ordinary house at 1 a.m. All the lights were off and nobody was outside. I parked on the other side of the street and waited for a bit, but not even 30 seconds later, the hooded man came into sight, walking down the sidewalk towards the house. I watched from my car as he walked up their driveway and up to their front door. He knocked a few times, then waited for a while before knocking again. Almost a whole minute.
Real question, boys. Imagine you're just sleeping at middle of the night and you see like a real like demon figure like knocking on your door. But like you usually, you know how you hear shit?
Yeah.
But what if like you actually see it and it's visibly staring at you deep in the eyes and you actually see them at deep in the eyes? I know, Bruce, you will get scared, huh?
No, yeah, I was
My
scared.
heart would drop instantly.
I would run.
I don't think I would try to. Maybe I would run to go get a weapon, mainly. That's the one.
Okay,
thing
like
I'd
say,
probably
okay, like for example, this Eddie, this is your room, this is your place. You're sleeping, and you see the clock. You wake up randomly, cause you know how sometimes you wake up randomly at night.
do. Yeah.
What if you see the time 3:33 a.m. and then you feel hella thirsty for some reason? You open the door obviously, cause you sleep with your room closed.
Yeah.
If you guys sleep with your door open, you're just a menace to society at that point. I don't know, you're a different breed. But Eddie,
Yeah.
say you got really thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
3:33 a.m. You're hella thirsty. You open the door and there's like a skinny ass like black figure, like hella skinny, hella tall too. Actually taller than your door.
Taller than my door.
And it's just staring at you.
That's a demon, bro. That's a demon. I am closing the door, grabbing any weapon I can find.
But it's a demon though. Like, what are you gonna do to it?
If I saw it, there's a chance that I can physically hurt it, but I'm also praying to God, bro. I am praying.
But what if like for some reason like you actually want to fight it again? You're all armored.
Yeah.
You open the door. He's gone. He's like normal. It's like the room.
You got no trace of him.
I'm praying. I'm praying, bro. What would y'all do? What would y'all do?
Pray.
Yeah, see?
Probably do the same outfit, but.
Con Dios. I rebuke anything that is not from the Lord himself.
Be like, pew pew pew.
Alright, we get back to the video.
Went by before someone answered the door. Immediately, the hooded man slammed his body into the homeowner and fought his way inside the home. I was in shock, seeing something like this for the first time happening right in front of me.
Calling the police on a
I
demon.
controlled
Imagine.
myself as soon as I could though and called the police. As I sat waiting in fear, I didn't see any movement for 2 or 3 minutes. I debated with myself whether or not to go in and try and help the homeowner. Honestly though, I was terrified and didn't want to make an already horrible situation even worse, so I stayed in my car. Suddenly, the front door moved a little, then swung open abruptly, followed by the hooded man sprinting out and running off down the street. The police didn't arrive until almost 10 minutes later. I don't know what took so long. I'm sure it wasn't anyone's fault, but part of me was furious.
Oh, hell.
Jeez.
By then,
bro.
the man was long gone, and the homeowner was laying inside,
The hospital?
having been beaten so hard that he was unconscious. Over the next few days, more unfortunate information came in. The homeowner didn't recognize the man from anywhere, and barely even remembered the situation, but the guy
Damn.
also didn't steal anything from his house. This was very unusual,
The
as the man
op
had
just
clearly
came
known of the homeowner's address, and his only known goal was to hurt the homeowner. Thus, it didn't make much sense for the suspect to not be someone he knew. The whole thing was very strange, and it still makes me feel uneasy. It's only been a week since this happened though, so hopefully more information comes up, and the hooded man gets caught.
The homie looks like a very, very interesting human to use certain substances. Oh, hell no.
Would you actually be scared, like, throughout the whole video, like, if it actually happened to you?
Yeah,
I was getting shot.
I would be very scared.
But what if you fell asleep?
What if I fell asleep?
Yeah, like, cause you know how you got beaten up brutally,
Yeah.
but you don't remember anything. Imagine, okay, cause he said he barely remembered. What if you really don't remember at all and you're like super confused? But the other point of view, like the guy knew.
That's when you just like, I don't even know.
That's
bro.
when you just burn the house down at that point.
Burn the house down. I'm burning my house down as soon as I see the fucking. Bro. Why is my shit being whole? Technical difficulty.
Alright, boys, I think we're gonna wrap it up now. You're already scared, huh?
Two
Yeah,
stories.
I'm scared.
Cause right now it's, bro, it's 1 in the morning.
Oh shit.
It's 1 in the morning. right
Forgot
now,
to
guys.
feed Josh in my. You're right.
Oh hell no.
Anyways,
But
hope
anyways,
you
we're
guys
gonna
enjoyed.
wrap up the video now. If you guys want a part 2, we will drop a part 2 hopefully soon.
I forgot to feed Josh.
And we have a really big surprise coming very, very soon. And it's actually going to be a little collab.
His name
Let's
is
just-
No
He's
collab
in the attic.
soon.
Josh is in the attic. Oh. There's no Josh in my attic. I'm sorry.
But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe. And like always, we out. Get ready for the next video.